Hey, small business heroes. Welcome back to another episode of Small Business PR, where we make small business PR and marketing super accessible, because my number one mission is to make sure that all founders of all lived experiences are seen, heard, and valued. And that starts with us really owning it and stepping into our power. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different. It's not about PR per se, but as you know, I believe that everything is interconnected. So your ability to win at PR, your ability to gain followers and clients and really get successful, it's all connected with your mindset, your beliefs, and how you take aligned action. So many times we have so many things that we're constantly consuming, whether it's Instagram posts, whether it's, LinkedIn things, whether it's following this expert or that guru. And there's so much noise out there. There's a lot of good stuff out there too, but there's just a lot of noise because the barrier to entry is very low to put something online. And a lot of times we can get caught up in following someone that, on paper maybe looks great and they have a great Instagram following or everything's really polished. But at the end of the day, their advice might not be suitable for your business because they don't know you and you don't know them. And I think it's so important to be okay with the fact that not all advice is going to work for you. In fact, probably most of them don't, and realize that everything is evolving. So the insights and the things that people share a few years ago may or may not be applicable to your industry and your customers and what you are seeing in the market right now. So this episode is about the top pieces of business advice that I've actually rejected. And that's coming from experience, me building my business throughout the years to 7 figures. And I did the same thing, right? Following all of the gurus and coaches. And a lot of times it just kind of sounds like the same people talking. And I had to be a really good master of curation, which means that you get all the strategies, you get all the tools, but then you have to curate which one's going to work for you because we don't have time and we don't have the bandwidth to be able to try all of the strategies. And that mastery, that curation really comes from experience. And so I'm going to share with you the top pieces of business advice that I actually maybe took in the beginning and I found out it wasn't true. And I'm going to add some nuanced insights so that you don't have to, spend all the time sifting through all the strategies. And maybe this perspective will help you a little bit. So the first piece of business advice that I rejected and I found to be not true was when people say, oh, it's always about quality over quantity. And you hear this, it's almost like a proverb, like everyone just takes it as of course. But I actually learned that especially when we are building businesses where we need a lot of marketing and need a lot of pieces of content and touch points, I do not think that in the beginning, quantity is better than quality. I think you just have to do a bunch of stuff, whether it's content, testing out formats, testing out, tones, whether it's Instagram reels, covers. You have to just try a lot of different things. And that same thing with your offers, your price points, how you sell it, how you deliver. Are you going to do sales calls? What sales page, even the button. You have to test a lot of stuff before it works. So I don't think that in the beginning it's about quality because in the beginning we don't have that filter. We don't have the experience to know what really is working. So in the beginning, it's definitely quantity over quality. And the people who are willing to roll up their sleeves and do more faster, meaning not hesitate and take action and just try a bunch of things, they will be quicker in finding out what works for them. And so it's kind of like a muscle where the earlier you are to build that muscle, the more it's going to compound. No one wakes up knowing exactly, well, this is the right tools, the right strategy that's going to work for my business because this expert says so. Now, to a certain degree, maybe, but at the same time, you're not doing a complete copycat of what they're doing. So how can it 100% resonate and be 100% a fit for your business? So it's really about taking bits and pieces of different people that you respect and then modifying it to where you are in your business, what season you're in, and what you're launching. So no, I do not think that in the beginning, quality is better than quantity. And the people who are waiting for the perfect thing, they will be waiting around for a long time and delaying your progress because that success comes from trying many things and giving yourself that time to test and iterate and test and iterate. And the people who have done that the most, the people who are most willing to get feedback and test and iterate, they will be the ones on top because they are the ones that have paid their dues in terms of testing and flexing that muscle of curation. So again, mastery comes from doing a bunch of things in the beginning. So I do not believe that quality over quantity is true in the beginning. Okay. So the second piece of business advice that's commonly told, right, is don't give it away for free. Or a lot of people say it's give them like the overall, like general thing, like the what, but not the how. I don't actually agree. I think that there's so much information out there. No one is doing something completely groundbreaking, right? So how you do like your products, your services, it's not 100% original. So I don't really think that there's a reason why we need to gatekeep. And I think the only way that we can cut through the noise and be different and establish ourselves as truly someone who is in the business of supporting people, because that's what people want to feel when they encounter you. That's what's going to make them buy. They're going to want to know if you are gatekeeping information or if you are leaning into abundance. And, someone who I love, marketer Simone Gray Soul, said this. She said, if you want to have a successful business and a ton of clients, just get really freaking good at helping a lot of people for free. And that's actually how I started my business. So I started my business with no leads, no audience, no budget for Facebook ads. And so how did I gain an audience? I created a signature PR workshop that I just gave for free many times in different founder networks. It was all value. It was all of my steps. It's all of the things there was nothing that was hidden. It was like, exactly, this is how you do PR. This is how you write a pitch, word for word. I actually screenshot and walk them through it. And so people love that so much because it's refreshing and it shows that you're so confident about what you're delivering. People are going to want to lean in. So think about it in your shoes, right? If someone is trying to sell you something, but they're being very vague or they're maybe overcomplicating things and like, oh, well, if you want this to be done, then you have to, it's behind a paywall. You're probably not going to be like very enthusiastic to work with someone. You're probably going to be like, well, there's a lot of options out there. Let me go do my due diligence. I think in the past, when people didn't have Instagram and the world at their fingertips, aka a smartphone, you could, position yourself as someone who, maybe kept the secret sauce and you have to, pay to get access to that. But I think now because there's, like YouTube and Google, there's not really like, a premium on information. I think what a premium is abundance, is value, is really holding someone's hand, making someone feel seen, like mission, values. Those things are at a premium. But in the age of data and AI, I don't think information is as valuable as it was. And so that's why what I'm doing now in my business is I'm actually getting on free calls with people. And I'm actually checking in with all of our customers, even though these calls are not listed on the sales page. I'm doing like yearly check-ins, quarterly check-ins, like finding out like how they're doing, like what they need help with. And that's really great for multiple reasons, because not only do they feel supported, which is great for me because then they can renew or they can recommend me, but I'm also getting valuable feedback. So I really think that being in an abundance mindset and really giving away as much as you can for free in the beginning. Now, obviously, if you have something that's like super proprietary, don't give them access to that, but like make them feel like they can do it on their own. Because when you have a customer who is making a decision from an empowered place, instead of you gatekeeping or driving fear into them, that's going to be a customer that you're going to want to keep for life. Because when you attract people based on scarcity and fear, and you're maybe hiding information, these are the types of people who maybe aren't in a position to really take aligned action, people who are probably not going to get the results, people who are not ready and willing to do what it takes to be an active member of your community. And you only want people who are empowered. So that's how you can attract the right people who are going to give you glowing reviews and refer you, is by helping them and serving them and giving as much as you can upfront. So it's definitely a value exchange. And again, I am a little bit woo-woo, but I do think that your energy matches like what you receive. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So if you're coming from an abundant place where you're not gatekeeping, people will sense that and they will want to lean all the way much closer to you. And they're going to want to be around you. So I think that's really the law of the universe. The third piece of advice that I actually flat out rejected, is this whole notion that, we have to delegate everything. And if you're not a good manager, like just delegate it to an online business manager or a project manager. And we hear this a lot. And actually, I was taught this in my mastermind that I joined, like a $20K a year mastermind. It was constantly like, if you don't like to manage your team, just hire someone to do it. And while I think maybe that works for some businesses, I think that at the end of the day, no business will truly thrive and become a market leader without visionary, inspiring leadership. And that comes from you, the CEO, because you are the driver of your ship. You are the person that is leading the vision. You are the spokesperson of your business. And sure, you can hire people for certain specific tasks, but ultimately leading the team, that's up to you. And no one that you throw money at to lead the team for you is going to do a better job than you because you own the vision. And so people are looking to you. And we also know this, and maybe you know as well from your own personal experience, certainly from mine, that money is not the main motivator. Sure, it can motivate your team members to a certain extent, but at a certain point, it's really not about money because now people can work, on Fiverr, like they can make money at home. So there's really such a flexible workforce now that people are only going to work for people they truly respect, whose vision that they feel aligned with and compel. And that's going to get better work out of the people you employ. So much better than a transactional way of leadership where it's like, okay, well, like I'm just project manager and I clock in and clock out. If you want to cultivate a team that really does more and really is like driving forward this vision, then I think you need to be the leader of the ship. And it doesn't matter if you have an unpaid intern or a paid intern. Definitely pay your interns, by the way, pay everyone. There is still leadership involved. And so that's something that I really try to work hard at. I know that that is a weakness of mine that I'm constantly trying to get better at is how can I be a leader? How can I stop being a micromanager and actually lead with vision? And I never thought this applied to me. I really thought this was something that Fortune 500 CEOs talk about, but now I understand why it's so important. Why it's so important. Even if you have a tiny small business or a team of one, there will be a point where you need to delegate and you need to lead the ship. So I think delegation is inherently a good thing. I think we need to delegate to elevate, but I think there are certain critical things as business owners that we need to know, which is you cannot delegate everything. So leadership, one thing you shouldn't delegate. And another thing is knowing what type of business you're in and what is your zone of genius. So for me, for my type of business and a lot of online, coaches and programs, like marketing is our bread and butter, right? We're not doing consulting work over a long time. So we have to always keep getting new people in our audience. So we have become very good at marketing and getting our message out to as many people as possible. And so that volume of content that we have to create has made us really good marketers. And I actually tried to delegate my entire marketing to someone and it didn't work out. Not only because we had creative differences, but also like our Instagram account just wasn't growing for like 5 months. And the moment I took it over, I grew at like 200 within 2 weeks. So that taught me a very important lesson, which is that I am the best marketer for my business. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm doing it all alone. So it means that I am implementing the strategy, the vision for the marketing. And I have a couple of assistants who can help me edit videos and put captions on things and turn it into content. But overall, the strategy is coming from me because I realized from this exercise that I can't delegate marketing and leadership to other people. I am the best marketer and leader for my business. Now I can obviously delegate the tactical part of it. So I have someone who's updating our scorecards. I have someone who is updating our project management. That's different. That's inherently different than being the strategic, visionary marketer and leader that my business needs me to be. So this is just for something that I learned for my business. It might not apply to you. So like if you don't think that marketing is your strong suit, or maybe you are in an industry where like you're not doing tons of like high volume marketing, might not like be aligned to you or might not resonate. But the point of me saying this is just know your strengths and don't delegate that out. That is your zone of genius and your business needs it to survive. So thank you so much for listening to this. We're probably going to have to do a part 2 of this, but I appreciate you all here listening week after week. I hope that this has given you some insight as you grow your business. And I look forward to the next time that I record this. So this is to be continued, but hopefully this gives you something to think about as you grow your business, because I think there are just so many strategies out there and it can get really noisy. And it's really about knowing what works and what doesn't and being a good curator and lens to filter that out. So that's really where the success comes is having that good filter. Thank you so much. If you know any small business owners who could benefit from this episode or any episode, please feel free to share it with them. And thank you so much for tuning in.